Eagles postgame show live from Ocean Casino, brought to us by Lehocky and also by Colony Pools. We have Bill Colarulo joining us now, and Bill's going to break the tie because you can either get an Eagle green, Kelly green pool cover or a midnight green pool cover from Colony Pools. Fly with Colony.com and get that pool cover. Bill, midnight or Kelly?
This year you got to go with the Kelly green. We're bringing him back. You go with Kelly green.
All right, he's going Kelly green. So Kelly green wins it 3-2. The Eagles win today 25-11. DeAndre Swift 16 for 130. The offensive and defensive lines dominated. Time of possession dominated by the Eagles. They're 3-0. And frankly, I don't see a loss in sight for the next several games. So let's kick this around a little bit, boys. Tonight, the Eagles ran the football down their throat. The offensive line loves that style. The offensive linemen just love straight-ahead blocking. Kelsey gets out in space, looks for a linebacker to take his head off. It's a beautiful thing to see that kind of football, isn't it?
When you run with that type of authority and you're mowing people out of the way, that is demoralizing to anybody standing in their way. And no matter what type of adjustments they try to make, they cannot stop it. And that's why when you saw those Tampa Bay players, they were sucking wind by early in the fourth quarter, man. They were dog-tired. I mean, this Eagles offense ran 78 plays. And you think about how many of them were running plays. They controlled the clock for over 38 minutes. That's about as demoralizing as it gets. So not only have you beat them up physically, you've also destroyed them mentally as well. Yeah,
and the quarterback apparently had the flu tonight, which we didn't know, but it was revealed after by our own John McMullen. So, Seth, the rating was low. He got picked twice, but he did get A.J. Brown involved. I mean, 14 targets for A.J. tonight with 9 catches.
Well, I would love to have seen them, spread the ball around a little more, but, it worked tonight. The passing game got going. He threw for 277 yards, I think it is.
Yeah.
Only 1 sack tonight. He was averaging, 3.5 sacks a game over the first 2 games. The only hiccup, was the 2 interceptions. What are you going to do? You're going to get those. You're going to have those. I'm sure he'll look at it. I'm sure he feels good about every other aspect of the game with the exception of, the 2 interceptions. If he could take those back, he'd take those back. But you got to be happy with, the progress. You got to be happy with – I'm happy with the balance of the offense, and to me there's no reason why you would deviate from that unless you play against a team and they take that ability to do that away, because I think that even against the most humiliating thing in the world for a defense is have the ball run down their throat with no remedy for it, and they had no remedy for it, and I believe that it opened up the rest of their offense as far as the passing game was concerned by them having the ability to actually run the football. And I know it's not the sexy thing as far as what the analytics and what the NFL really wants to see today, but if that's the most effective way for you to win football games, to hell with sexy.
Yeah. But this plays right in what Bill was saying as we were watching the game. Bill, that's the statistic you had on DeAndre Swift. So that statistic indicates that we should worry about overuse for the guy, even though we're delighted the way he's playing football right now because he looks fresh and quick.
Yeah, I think they hit the number right on the head tonight, though. I think he had 16 carries. I think that's the perfect amount of carries for him, somewhere between 15 to 18 carries a game. You just don't want to give him 28 carries like you did last week. But if that guy's picking up 9 yards a carry, give him the ball 50 times. I mean, that was unbelievable what he was doing tonight. But you want to keep him fresh. I think that's why you saw Gainwell in at the end of the game. It was smart. But this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, this Tampa Bay Bucs team was good against the run. They were the number 2 defense against the run coming into this game. And it's just shown even last season, doesn't matter how good the defense is, this Eagles team can impose their will and run the football against anybody.
Well, I mean, that's a different style than I'm certainly used to seeing. But I'm okay with them going more conventional, by the way. We want to make Jalen Hurts a straight drop-back quarterback and run the football like that and have that kind of balance that's going to win against these teams that they're playing. I mean, you look at the NFC and you go, okay, who's at that level that the Eagles are at? Maybe 2 teams.
49ers?
Maybe.
maybe. Outside of that, when Dallas's offensive line is healthy, they have a good running game, but not to this level. I can't think of another team in the NFC, Seth, that can run the ball with this type of authority, impose their will on a defensive front as consistent as this Eagles offensive line can, outside of the Niners.
Well,
maybe.
the Niners.
Yeah.
The Niners, because, Christian McCaffrey is just he's a different animal.
And Debo.
And then the way they incorporate Debo into the run game, I mean, they'll put him in the backfield, hand it off to him, run jet sweeps to him, the bubble screens, which is an extension of the run game. You get all of those different things that, that really make them uniquely different. And they're creative, They're to me, probably the second most creative offense in the National Football League, with the exception of Andy Reid and Kansas City being, the most, creative.
This is all fun and games right now. So let's just look at the schedule a little closer, because we can see the next three look like bops to me to go 6-0 until they get to Miami, and then you got Washington, and then this real season starts. Because you got Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas, right in that cluster right there. Yeah. So we may have to wait until that cluster to see really how good this team is.
When people saw the schedule, everyone was like, oh, the Eagles have got, I think, the toughest or the second toughest schedule in the National Football League this year, coming off of, a Super Bowl loss. But I think the schedule, played out perfectly for the Eagles, and this is why. They were going to struggle in the early part of the season. There was no doubt about it, because they hadn't played, But they get to struggle against teams that they're better than, and they can win with their C game early, and they're going to progressively get better. By the time they get to the meat of the schedule, they should be hitting on all cylinders, and at that point, they're going to have to win against the Miamis and the Cowboys and the 49ers and the Chiefs. Now they play those teams at the proper point in the season so that we can get a gauge of what they're going to look like and try to figure out what they need to improve on, so that when we get to the playoffs, they know where they need to be. Because they got a lot of young players that they're going to ask to play. And to ask those players to play against that kind of talent early in the year could have been detrimental, So it's all playing out, in my opinion, the way it should be. You got teams that you should beat and teams that you can win games against early in the season. But you also, in the middle of the season and the second third of the season, you're gonna start playing against teams that you're gonna have to beat in the playoffs in order to get to where you want to get to. And then it kind of eases up, towards the end of the season, where you can start getting healthy and get guys rested, especially, if you've got home field locked up.
Bill, you feeling this new style with just run the football? Let's play conventional football. Let's get away from the RPOs.
Yeah, I think, look, it sounds cliche to say take what the defense gives you. But if the defense is going to give you 6-7 yards a pop when you're running the football, run the ball early to set up the pass late. Seth talked about this as well. It's set up the pass for them tonight. I know the Eagles love to come out, try to put up a lot of points, and then run the football. That was the formula last season. But this year, you got to flip that mindset. Run the ball, make these defenses start to creep down towards the line of scrimmage, and then take your shot over the top. And if that's going to work every week, let's keep piling up the wins.
All right, so what kind of injuries did we have tonight? Looks like Evans went out early. Sidney Brown went out.
Thigh injury.
A thigh injury.
Yeah.
So
Evans had the neck injury.
So we're going to get Dr. Bruce on in this show to explain that. They had a couple guys that came back tonight. Dr. Bruce is with us right now. All right, so let's get to Dr. Bruce Grossinger. Doc, a couple guys got back in the lineup tonight, Bradbury and Blankenship. Bradbury in the slot that really wasn't that effective. Blankenship, I thought, played very well. So tonight, a couple of the guys in the secondary got banged up also. What did you see with Sidney Brown and Evans?
Yeah, well, Evans went out with a neck injury, and he'll probably have an MRI tomorrow to see if he has a herniated disc. Sidney Brown played great. Again, as you know, Avonte Maddox went out with he's out for the season with a pectoralis tear. And Kobe Dean should be back in 2 weeks. He just had a foot strain. He's been attending charity events without a boot, so that's a good thing.
All right, anything else that you see out there?
Well, let me
ask you this question about Jalen Hurts, because we learned after the game he was playing with the flu. When you get a guy ready to play a game with the flu, what do you do?
Well, you give him Tylenol and Motrin, and you hope he's as tough as Michael Jordan in Game 6, who played with the flu. And I couldn't see there was any detriment from that. And Hurts is just a tough guy, so I only learned about that after the game. And John McMullen was very reassuring about Landon Dickerson. He said that he's totally fine. But this is a guy with 2 ACL tears, so that's very reassuring as we go into next week against Washington.
Well, you got anything? You guys got anything for Dr. Bruce?
Well, I mean, he covered it.
He covered it all.
You covered it all, Dr. Bruce. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, we appreciate it.
Great to see you guys.
Good to see you. There he is, Dr. Bruce Grossinger. With the injury report right here on the Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll close it down right after.
Dr. Bruce Grossinger, and I'm the medical director of Philadelphia PRP and Stem Cell Institute. I'm reaching out to those who suffer from spine and joint pain. We use treatment methods that require no surgery, no scalpel, no drugs.
Running, walking, or whatever your desires are, Dr. Grossinger is where you need to come.
You can benefit from the same PRP and stem cell treatment as Wilbert Montgomery. Call us now at 610-222-5675.